There is nothing mystical, nor is there anything esoteric about mindfulness. People think mindfulness is something mystical because of the meditation that is involved in getting your mind to focus, to concentrate, and to become aware. Awareness is one of the most important aspects of mindfulness. In fact, as children, all of us have undergone mindfulness training. You might remember having gone up to your terrace, gazing up at the cumulus in the blue skies and imagining shapes to it. Hey, that cloud looks like a rabbit. Hey, this one looks like a lion. This is mindfulness training by itself. Mindfulness is considered to be an alter ego to multitasking. Multitasking by itself is a misnomer. Can you ever multitask? Let's assume that you're an ambidextrous person. Can you write with your left hand and your right hand at the same time? You cannot. Though movies might lead you to believe otherwise. Let's assume that you're cooking biryani. You've already cut the vegetables, the onions, the tomatoes are diced, and you have got all the spices ready. The meat and the rice is being steamed, and now you go to the mixie to grind your spices, and that's when you get a call. You get a call from one of your primary customers who's on the anvil of closing a multi-crore deal with you. Will you ignore that call? No, you won't. You take it. And when you are focused on the call, you suddenly realize you have forgotten whether you have already added salt to the masala, to the rice, to the onions. Or when you are focused on the intricacies of the biryani, you may not realize that you have given away a little more to that client. That is why you should never do two things at the same time. You just cannot do it. The Neanderthals had a bigger brain than human beings. The reason was they actually used to multitask. Neanderthals had to make their own house, repair their own house, make their own weapons, hunt with those weapons, find the berries which are edible and poisonous, segregate them and feed it to their families, provide the security to the families. All this thing was being done by that one man, the Neanderthal man. That's why they had a bigger brain. Today, our brains have shrunk because we have gone into the age of specialization. We have specialists to do everything for us. We have specialists to take care of our security. We have specialists to make our weapons. We have specialists to do a certain aspect of our accounting. A specialist to even take care of our cooking. Do we even cook nowadays? Leave alone hunting. So that's it. Today we don't specialize, but despite that, we multitask a lot. In spite of the fact that we are specialists, we need to take care of not only our work, we need to take care of our children. We have to go for the PTA meeting. We got to spend quality family time. We got to play games with our family, with our children. We also need to probably pick up a few things for the night dinner. We do a lot of things. We have to invest our money carefully. We have to conserve our capital. We do multitask, but we never do more than one thing at a time. Never do it. You cannot do it. So multitask means several tasks performed in a day, one after another. What is mindfulness, by the way? Mindfulness is nothing but awareness. Consider this young woman from your office who needs to go home every day at 6:30 after it gets dark, and from the metro station to her house, she has to negotiate this lonely 400-meter corridor, which has got no proper lighting, which has got dark, shady corners everywhere, shadowy things all over, bushes everywhere, no shops, no houses, 400 meters. Every day she makes it. She's very mindful. She knows it's a very dangerous stretch, but she's very mindful. She makes it every day, so she's not really scared. Several people pass her when she makes this lonely stretch on that 400 meters, and she goes across them. She's not worried. But on that one particular day, there is this guy who's approaching. As soon as she sees him about 200 meters away, she suspects that everything is not okay. She feels there's something, instinctively she feels there's something wrong. She doesn't feel safe. So she acts as if she's gone, she has lost something. She turns around, goes back to the metro station where there is light and crowd, waiting for this guy to pass away, so pass from her vision so that she can make that stretch, attempt that stretch once more. That's mindfulness, being aware of what is happening around you. It is very, very important. It's like, our Neeraj Chopra, the latest gold winner. In fact, if you had read his stories after he won the gold medal in the Olympics, he keeps telling you again and again that he keeps visualizing all his throws in his mind. If he's got 6 throws, he visualizes all the 6 throws, and he focuses on the technique rather than the outcome. So focus on the task rather than the outcome, though outcome is very, very important to motivate you. As a corporate citizen, be very, very mindful. Know what you need to do. Early in the morning when you wake up, very clearly visualize in your mind the whole day. Break it up into 4 different 2-hour slots: 9 to 11, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, and 3 to 5. Clearly visualize what is going to happen in these 4 different slots, because mindfulness is the essence of planning. And if you have to plan really well to take you through the day, whether you're a strategic planner right at the top of the hierarchy, or whether you're a tactical planner somewhere probably in the middle level, or you're an operational planner probably at the supervisory level, remember, break up your day into 4 time slots of 2 hours each. And at the end of each slot, 10 minutes before the slot ends, get up from your chair, walk around, revisit your plan. You might have assigned task A to a certain person who's so good, you should not interfere. That person will complete it. Task B has been assigned to a certain person who needs a little bit of mollycoddling and hand holding probably, so give them a call. Task C is very, very vital, so you need to know, because based on how the task C is going, you may have to build a different set of bridges. So find out where task C is going. Task D again might be a person totally new in your team, so you want to train that person. Call that person. Revisit your plans. This is mindfulness. Be aware of where you stand. Where is the gulf taking you? How far is the bridge being built? All these things you got to be absolutely aware. So, one of the toughest caps to wear in sports is the cap that the captain of a cricket team wears. The captain of a cricket team has a very tough job, because they not only need to be very mindful, and they have to roll up their leadership and managerial skills into one, and they also need to be excellent performers. Let's take Dhoni. Let's assume Dhoni is leading his team to a 2020 World Cup. The one single thing in his mind, which mindfulness coaches will tell you, the one single thing you got to focus on, Dhoni is already focused on, that he's got to win that cup, that trophy he's got to win. But then he's got several tasks in between. He's got several matches. So at the beginning of every match, he's got the entire 3.5-hour match played in his mind. He visualizes it from the point of view of winning the toss and from the point of view of losing the toss. He's got the entire thing visualized. And despite the visualization, the first 4 overs, everything goes haywire. So being the aware captain that he is, being the mindful captain that he is, he revisits his plan, and on the run he keeps changing and tweaking his plans. He changes the bowling, he changes the batting, he changes the fielding, he changes everything. So this is the primary thing that you got to focus on if you have to be a mindful person. Be aware of what is happening. Keep tweaking your plans regularly so that everything will happen as if you are in control. Goodbye. Thank you.